Hey people, how are you doing? Have we got a show for you today? If you listen on a podcast or on Mixcloud, please subscribe and you get the latest shows. But if you're into your music and you're into reality TV shows, oh yeah, we've got a cracker for you. So we've got one of the contestants that was recently on the UK's version of The Voice. It's only Peter Donegan. Peter Donegan! It was wonderful to spend some time with him. Brilliant, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in the future. And if you don't know who Peter is an emerging, amazing country singer in his own right, but he does a little nod to his dad, who is none other than Lonnie Dongan. So sit back, as I always say, relax, enjoy the show, and just buckle up, because this is a show special. It's over an hour-long interview, and we get behind the scenes of The Voice and what Peter's up to. So anyway, as I say, let's take it away. Get on with the show. Right, so like I said, people, we've got a special podcast today, special show for you to tune into, so I hope you enjoy this. Managed to get hold of Peter Donegan. He's been really busy just lately, and he's quite kindly decided to come on the Dougie Stone Show, which is great. So thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me here, Kurt. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and like I said to you last week, I watched The Voice. I watch The Voice every season because I think it's a fantastic show. Out of all the reality music type shows, I think for me it's the most entertaining. I think it seems the most genuine. But we've been really busy doing a business move, and we'd not watched much of this season. And it was the other week, and I sat and I went, "Is that Peter Donegan?" To my wife, she went, "Yeah." I went, right, I didn't even know he was on The Voice. And it was obviously the battles. And I've looked back at some of the videos afterwards, and I think it's just amazing. And obviously, I like to know a bit more about The Voice, and I'm sure listeners would like to know a bit more about The Voice, because we only see what's on the TV, if that makes sense.
Of course, yeah. Well, I mean, there's obviously lots to tell as well. I've had great fun so far. You know, they've treated me beautifully on the show. They really, really have. And they treat everybody really in a really nice. It's very professional, but it's also a very laid back and friendly manner backstage. So it does generate a lovely atmosphere, because otherwise you're just sitting there, you know, wringing your hands because you get nervous about what you're doing next.
Yeah, and it comes over that, because if you look at when they just start, I think it was one the other week, and Tom Jones started jamming with one of the other presenters, and it was just like those. And then Will I Am just gets up and goes and sits in the audience and has a bit of a giggle and what. I mean, you think you won't do that on any other show, and it's just it's not. It doesn't look staged to me, and I don't think it is. I think it just looks really genuine, like four people who respect each other, almost like friends, and are just doing something they love. And I think it's a magical show, really do.
It really is, and it's picked up a much better atmosphere since it went over to ITV as well.
Yes.
I mean, which is a predominantly American-owned company anyway. So what they've done is they've put obviously a lot more funding behind it, and you can see that in the set. But also they run it a little bit differently, you know. So, and that seems to have really benefited the show. And no, nothing on the show is staged, you know. I mean, there's a format to the day. I mean, because there's a live audience. So what they do is they organise contestants in order of what would be a good set list for a live gig.
Yeah.
You know, so it's all entertaining. And then what happens in between, you know, with the coaches and everything, you know, like Will, Jen, Tom, Ollie, is all whatever they decide to do, really.
Yeah.
You know, and they never know who's turning up next. Well, certainly not for the blind auditions. You know, and they don't know which battle's coming up next, really, until sort of just beforehand.
Oh, right, okay. Because the battles, watch this week's show. Obviously, when this goes out, it could be when people listen to it, could be months in the future. But just watch this week's, and the battles are just, you're putting the two artists together, and then they sing. I mean, I say these could be a duet. And there was one with the three girls and the single solo singer, and those four together would make a great band. I don't know.
That's the thing, yeah. You're talking about with the Crypto Overcome and Marina.
Yes, and I just don't know how they pick. I don't know how they pick. It's difficult to pick.
Well, I mean, the thing is really, I mean, you speak to any artist, any experienced artist, and they'll hate the battle rounds because it's extremely gladiatorial, and it's there's a physics to it which doesn't make it fair with a lot of cases as well. I mean, you because you can either pick a genre which doesn't fit either of them, or you pick a genre which fits one and not the other.
Yeah.
So it's always touchy ground when you're picking a song like that. So they do try and pair artists together on the show who are at least a little bit similar. But in the case of like with Mike and Cedric, for instance, I mean, it's Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Yeah.
And it's really something that doesn't fit either of them because it's a Rolling Stones number, whereas Mike is a sort of 80s, 90s rock voice, so he suits Bon Jovi more. And then you've got Cedric, who is a soul singer, a gospel singer with an incredible articulation of his vocals. So really, Rolling Stones is nowhere for either of them. So it had to be, it was just seeing who overcame it the best.
Yeah.
And then you look at sort of the duet between myself and Dina. Now, vocally, I could see why we got paired together, because Tom, with an experienced ear, had heard something, and we were extremely compatible. And that, we ended up being compatible not just vocally, but as friends too, and we're really close now. I mean, and it's, it was just when we started singing harmonies together, there was no effort. It just happened. It was one of those things where we just went, "Ooh, okay." We both went into the right place for each other. That was great.
Yeah, and
so as artists, we gel.
Yeah, and you can see that, and I think when they pair them up, and obviously Tom's paired you two up, and his other, and you think, yeah, I can see why he's done. I see why he's done that, and he paired you two up, and I was absolutely. I'm not just saying it because I'm talking to you now, and I'm interviewing you, but me and my wife just turned around and went, "Wow, what happened then? How's they not picked him? It's just unbelievable." And I suppose on the night he has something in his head and decides to go with what he got. I mean, she's very unusual, very unusual dressed and everything, really talented, and I think it was difficult to pick between the two. But I was genuinely shocked. Well, you and a lot of the great British public, apparently. But it was, I mean, I suspected it beforehand because I just put my producer's head on, and I thought, to try and not make it look like favoritism, are they going to want to move me on now? Yes.
And then I look at her as an artist and I think, well, she's younger than me, and she's got a great personality and bubbly. She's so likable, and I can see why they would go with her over me.
Yeah.
Because who would you rather look at, her or my ugly mug?
You mate, you all day. No, but
well, you're very kind, but I bet you say that to all of the interviewees.
But you've hit the nail on the head, because that's what we said. Because obviously, and we'll talk a bit about that in a minute. But there's a link between you and Tom, and in his head he's thinking, if I pick him, I'm going to get slated for favouritism, and it's family connections, and it's old friends, and then the other thing, and this is the conversation, and it must have been the conversation through many households, and we said, actually, it might be better if Peter goes out now, because he can go and do his honest thing. He's got loads of stuff on his plate. He's an experienced singer anyway. So actually, in getting any further in the competition, is that going to boost him any further in his career? Maybe not. He might as well just cut and go now. So I don't know. It's a real tough one. But anyway, you're still a great singer anyway. So it matters. It.
Well, thanks very much, Kirk. But I mean, the benefits. It depends on what way you look at it. I mean, because obviously, the longer you stay on the show, it's massive promotion. But really, once you've made your appearance, on The Voice from your blind auditions, suddenly your profile goes skyrocket, and mine did, especially with the duet, which we did with Tom.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it went viral, and I went from 8,000 followers on Facebook to now, 20-odd thousand followers on Facebook. and it's still growing, which is lovely. But then the next round, while it got a lot of attention, didn't really increase any followers or anything like that. And of course, I speak to all the other contestants, and it doesn't, because they're already there, they're already liking you, they're already following.
Yeah.
And while staying on the show keeps you in the public eye, there are other ways to do that. What it does do for you is, because the record label, for instance, which is Universal, who we're all pre-signed to as soon as you step on the show,
right?
They can offer you a recording contract, but they're more likely to offer you a recording contract the longer you stay on the show.
Right, okay.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, they can still pick somebody who never even got through their blinds, really, but it's just, it's one of those kind of things. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, so, I mean, there's pros and cons. I mean, if you stay on the show as well, obviously, there's not much else you can do other than be on the show, because it's extremely time-consuming, not just for when you're on call and you've got to go and because it's days of interviews. I know it's only 5 to 10 or maybe even 15 minutes if you're lucky on the screen, but that's all days of filming.
Yeah.
A lot of there's 2 days of interviews, as well as band rehearsals, as well as on-set rehearsals, then the coaching, and then the actual filming of the event, which is all done as a live gig. So it takes a lot of time, and then of course you go home. What are you going to do? You're going to try and hone it and make this the best thing you've ever done in your life every time you do it.
Yeah.
And people don't realize the rehearsal that artists put in. You don't just go out there and perform it and that's the end of it, because a lot of people do that at gigs. They come to me and say, so what do you do then? I go, we just watched it. They go, well, that's easy. They're only here for 2 hours. I went, nah.
Oh, I know, and I know that, and I'm glad you've explained that. I get it, I totally get it. But a lot of people just it's like when we watched the DIY program the other day, and 60 minutes, and then people think, oh, you can do DIY in 60 minutes. They've been months in the planning of that thing and ordered all the measured it. Do you know what I mean? They've not just turned up and done something in an hour. They've been months at it. So I do, yeah. But it's funny how a lot of people just have this. Oh, that's dead easy. Like, you just pitch up with your microphone and your guitar, and off you go, and we wish, and you can't do that, can you? If anyone, you've got to practice, and especially if they're giving you a song, and then performing with somebody else you're not normally performing with, and a song that you don't normally perform, then that's added another dynamic to it, because then you've not only got to perfect what you're doing, you've got to match yours, like you said before, to the other person or the other group you're singing with. So it's not an easy situation to be in, I should imagine. But I bet it's really demanding, and really I bet it's really tiring as well. It's extremely tiring, and on days of the actual events, like on your actual blind audition, on your actual battle, on your actual knockout, performance, whatever it might be, you are there from like 6 a.m. on set. And for my case, for the first part of the filming, it's up at Media City in Manchester. So I've gone up the night before. Mm-hmm. We're all staying in the hotel. You got your curfew. You're in. And you try and eat right. You're trying to, you're humidifying your throat. You're taking all of the precautions that you try and do, staying away from anybody who might have a sneeze. Yeah. And then you're there all day, like I said, from 6 a.m. You're prepping your makeup, your makeup and hair again. Then you're back in costume again, because they give you what to wear, not just what you sing. And it's like, and you're wandering around all day. Then there are a lot, hours and hours of twiddling your thumbs, wondering what to do. And of course, that's when the nerves kick in as well, because you're thinking, should I do this? Should I change this? No, leave it the way it is. Well, but if I change it, that's what I'm thinking about it now, so maybe I should do it. But no, change it, leave it away, and you end up, you kill yourself, mentally. Yeah. And that's where the other contestants really come in and help you, because you've got somebody to talk to who's sitting there right now going through exactly the same thing you're going through. And if you've got a couple of, especially seasoned pros, which there are lots of on this show, one thing that you like to do is, do you know what it is? Forget what we're singing today, because otherwise we're going to completely kill ourselves on it. Do you know
Lost John, do you know, May the Circle Be Unbroken? Oh, I remember that song. Great. May the Circle Be Unbroken. Have a jam session,
Yeah.
and it's just because it just gets you away from what you're doing for a second.
Yeah, I totally get that, and yeah, and unfortunately, and that's what TV is all about. It's you're just seeing an edited highlight of lots of filming, and because I do a lot of video editing as well, and what I might
Yeah.
put a 1 minute video out, I might have hours of bloody footage, but you cut it down, and people don't see that, and don't, if they've never been in that situation, they don't get it. I mean, they couldn't just sit and film everything, because then that'd be like Big Brother. It'd be a bit boring, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? So it's, you understand why it's done, but for the few artists, and it's great, like you said, that there's the camaraderie backstage, and the you're not against each other. You are against each other, but you're not against each other in that situation.
Because at the end of the day, we all stand, because if you've got through, your audition process, they then invite you up a couple of days later, and you can all, as a team, sort of Team Tom, Team Ollie, whatever, you get together and you watch each other's blind auditions, and you congratulate each other, and that starts the bonding process amongst us all. And what we did was we went off for a cheeky Nando's, as you do.
Yeah.
All 10 of us from Team Tom. And we all sat together, and I think it might have been Dina who came up with it first, and she said, do you know what it is? It's a TV show. They're going to pick who they want to pick at the end of the day, because they're probably looking for a certain style or something.
Yeah.
We don't know, so there's no point in racking our brains about it. The important thing is, let's just, not battle with each other. Let's just have some fun.
Yeah, and you've seen that on a couple of the, and I forget the names now, but they said the lad was shaking on Saturday night.
Oh, I&M.
But when they finished, they just cuddle each other, didn't they? It's like well done.
Yeah, but those two are the gentlest, nicest people you've met. Both of them. I mean, Grace, bless her heart. I mean, it's difficult for her backstage for mingling, because on the basis that she's got because she's 17, I think, so she had to have what do you call it, a guardian with you, kind of thing,
because of her age.
Yeah, because of her age, 'cause she's under 18, And I'm thinking, well, I can understand if you're under 16, but under 18, over 16, I knew what I was doing. I was able to do what I was told, but it's all, cross the I's, dot the T's. Bless it. I mean, she was really nice and really softly spoken, and eager for conversation. I thought she was really sweet. And then you got I&M, who was permanently nervous because he's never done anything even close to this before.
I know. He's brilliant though.
And I was stood next to him for when we all got grouped together, and Tom's selecting who's going to sing with who, and I'm standing next to him. Bearing in mind, he's 6 foot odd. He's a tall man, I&M, and he's shaking away. And he said, he's looking at me, and he says, oh, I'm so nervous. I said, don't be nervous. I said, they're selecting us. I said, you're not performing now. He said, I know. I said, don't know what it is. He said, I'm just really nervous. And he started to hyperventilate a little bit. And I said to him, just breathe in, hold it for a second, breathe out. I said, just chill, before Tom comes in, because as soon as Tom walks in the room, you're going to get even worse. He was like, yeah, I know. I said, all right. So there he is sitting there, trying to sort of, zen him out a little bit, bless him.
Yeah, I can. You could see it on his performance on Saturday, and I think it's great. And going back to what you were saying at the start, because a lot of people might have seen you on the Voice and gone, "Oh, he's good. Where's he come from?" And like you say, there's a lot of seasoned pros out there. A lot of the artists some of them you see them year on year coming on. They've been in a band when they were younger, or on a group, or they've had a bit of success for a year or so, and then they've gone by the wayside, and it's like their next chance to come. And I think that's why it's good they do it the way they do it, because they don't know who's walking on that stage. They didn't know you was on that stage.
No.
So I think it's got an advantage and disadvantage, but it makes me chuckle sometimes, because if say you progress and become a megastar, or anyone from the show, they go, oh, like an overnight success, but you've been doing stuff. You've been doing your craft for a long time. I'm sure. Have you been like 5 or 6 year old or something when you first started performing? Was it something like that? Was it a bit like?
Yeah, I was 5. Yeah.
I know, that's crazy.
But that's the thing. I mean, there are some overnight successes. I mean, Ollie Murs is one of them. Really,
he's good. Yeah.
He didn't really do anything, until he set foot on the X Factor, stage. But that's great. I mean, he's a good laugh as well. He seems like a really lovely guy. He's still, the Essex lad that he always was. And for some people, it is a meteoric rise to fame. And then there's other of us, and lots of us on this season's show, who, I mean, yes, it's a meteoric rise to fame if the meteor was being pulled across the sky by an 8-year-old granny on a bicycle. Yeah. It's like, we've been doing it for a long time.
I know, and obviously, your background and from your family, it's the logical thing for you potentially to do, because you're living and breathing it 24 hours a day, aren't you?
Of course.
You must have that must have had a massive influence on you.
Of course it did. It was and it stands to reason that my sort of calling in life would be the same as my dad's. I mean, so many people go into the family business, and that's what I've done as well. Really, it is the family business. And it's just it gets more of a highlight, in this industry than in others. Because the thing is that people end up, and this is an unfortunate side of it in some ways, and it happens to every next generation performer, shall we call it, like I am, where people are not looking at you; they're looking for your parent in you.
Yeah.
And it happens to so many people, where people come up and rather than saying, "Oh, that was a great gig," they come up and go, "Oh, your dad was good, wasn't he?" And I go, "Yes, he was. Yes. What did you think of this?" "Oh, it was great. Can you sing Mild Mannered Dustman?" I go, "No. Why not? Because I'm not Lonnie Dongan."
I know, and I did say to you before, I wasn't even going to bring it up, because for me, you're an artist in your own right, but it's unfair not to bring it up, because obviously, but from another angle, and I think it is unfair of everyone to do that to individuals, and that's why I'm denying whether I talk about it, because you're an artist in your own right. You've got your own style. You've got your own abilities. I mean, you've even taught yourself. You've taught yourself instruments, haven't you, on your own? You self-taught on some of your instruments and things like that. And yes, there's potentially some genetics there and some training development from watching your dad on stage. But I think all too often you're right. People look at that, that star, and go, well, yeah, oh, you're maybe not as good as him, or you're not the same as him, or why are you not doing that, or why are you not doing that? Your dad would have done this. Well, actually, I'm not my dad. I'm me, and I'm doing my thing.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, because I mean, I'm immensely proud of Dad.
Yes. Immensely
proud. And I think in the public eye, I don't think he got the recognition that he fully deserves. I mean, and that is, for anybody who is a trailblazer, for somebody who is the first. That is normally the case, because nobody knows how to market it, nobody knows what to do, because it's a brand new entity, and that was the case for Dad, because he came out with this brand new, as far as the UK was decided, a brand new style of music, because he'd taken Lead Belly records, Woody Guthrie songs, American folk songs, gospel songs, blues and jazz tunes, and introduced them to the UK and changed the music industry here, and inspired so many people. I mean, the list is immense, and I'll mention just 3 off the top of my head that you would not have at all if it wasn't for Dad. First and foremost, the Beatles. No Dad, no Beatles. And that is, you ask any of them that are still alive, obviously, and they'll say that.
Yeah.
You ask Led Zeppelin, for instance, and it's Dad. And then Roger Daltrey from The Who. Always cites Dad. And the list goes on and on and on. Joe Cocker, for instance, he couldn't work out what he was going to do with his life. Heard Rock Island Line on the radio, which was Dad's first major hit, and all of a sudden he thought, that's what I want to do.
Wow.
And that's, people don't realise that.
Yeah.
And it's, for me, the more frustrating part is not people, looking for my dad's tunes, because I'm very happy to do a lot of them, and I do have a skiffle set, in my performance that I do, because I'll always pay homage to Dad. It's when I say, I'm going to do this song now, it's the biggest hit Dad had, and it changed the British music industry and inspired so many people, and that gets a big laugh, and I go, why are you laughing?
Yeah.
And then you see a couple of them, mouthing to each other, going, "Oh, Mild Mannered Dustman." I go, "No, this is the story about the Rock Island Line." Bang,
Yeah.
And then they'll go, "Oh."
But it's that.
You ask.
Yeah, sorry, go on, carry on.
No, I was going to say, you ask anybody in the industry, any performer, any artist, any songwriter, and you say Lonnie Dongan, the first thing they hit you with is Rock On Online.
Yeah.
Because that was it. Then after that, they're looking at, tunes like Seven Golden Daffodils, which was a beautiful number. And then, people who are in the know, they'll go, oh, I Never Fall in Love Again. I mean, your dad's version was lovely, he said, but Tom's was awesome. Like, you go, yeah, it was. And then, because there's not many people that have a song which is covered by Tom Jones and Elvis Presley.
Yeah,
because
brilliant.
It was the last track on Elvis's last album as well.
Yes, it's mind blowing, really, and that's why it's great to remember him and give him homage as well, because he bloody deserves it. Because, like I say, if without the Beatles, I always say, and after you're talking to you, what you just said, then I'm thinking, well, I always said the Beatles changed but it's not, is it? It's not. It wasn't the Beatles. They were influenced by your dad. So, you know what I mean? It's mind blowing. You reel off those names and talk about those individuals that have been influenced by someone in your family. That's just brilliant.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, because Dad came on the set, and they were doing what was called skiffle music, as it was termed then by Ken Collier. And the modern terminology of that music really is Americana music. Mm-hmm. That's what Dad did. He introduced Americana music into the UK. They just didn't have the Americana name for it then. And I'm not sure whether that particular wording would have been very popular at the time either. So, they call it skiffle music, which was an American term actually in its own. That came in. And what skiffle did was it bridged the gap. It created the teenager, in the sense that because teenagers back then didn't have their own identity, because you went straight from school to workplace. Yeah. There was no in-between time. Sounds very communist, really, doesn't it? But it was the way things
it
worked.
was. I think my dad was 14 when he left school and went to work, so yeah.
Yeah, and my dad was the same. He did his 11 pluses, out he was on his bicycle, transferring money between banks. That's the first thing he did. That's just the way things were. Suddenly skiffle came out, and it gave the young generation something of their own. And it inspired, because there was 1 in 4 men in Great Britain were in a skiffle band.
Right.
That's how it was, because they suddenly went, hold on, Lonnie's going to play 2 chords, 3 chords at most, and sings along with it, and we've got a song. I can do that. Because before that, people thought we have to be classically trained to play any instrument.
Yeah.
And then Dad proved, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's one of the first self-taught, musicians. And that's where, Eric Clapton suddenly went, oh, wait a minute, I don't have to go to lessons, and the Beatles the same.
Yeah, the Beatles were the same, weren't they? Yeah, they were the same. They all taught themselves to play, didn't they? They were just...
Yeah, exactly. Because they watched my dad, and there's bootleg performances you can buy of John Lennon singing Putting on the Style, sounding identical to my dad.
Wow.
And if my dad hadn't introduced that and that whole idea, of self-taught, musician, then I don't know what John Lennon and Paul McCartney and George Harrison and Ringo Starr would have been doing. Wallpapering maybe. It's just one of those things.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. It's brilliant. It's interesting how timeline of events and things. People introduce something which then change the sound of the music and the future generations what they listen to. Because then the Beatles influenced Oasis. Oasis always mentioned the Beatles and listen to some of their music, and you can tell where some of the lyrics come from, and some of the tones and the sounds.
Oh, definitely.
So you've influenced the Oasis. It's like so it all just spins off like a big spider web into all what we're listening to now, really, doesn't it? Into popular music.
Of course it does, and I mean, you didn't have to tell me about, well, nobody I knew, but the first time I heard Oasis, and I went, oh, they're sort of like a 90s Beatles band. That's my first impression when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I investigated a bit more because I quite liked them. And I was like, oh, well, their inspiration was the Beatles. There you go, makes sense.
Yeah, it does, and you can hear it coming through, so you could definitely... And I was just looking at some of your tour dates. You're actually you're playing at the Cavern Club, aren't you, in a bit?
I am. I'm finally going to do the Cavern Club in Liverpool, and I'm really looking forward to that in October.
I've never been. My wife's from Liverpool, and I was there a few months, but I've never been to the Cavern Club. I'll have to do that. We'll have to go sometime, I'm sure. But yeah, so I bet you're looking forward to that. That'll be a bit surreal, I should imagine.
It will be, because there's a big image of my dad on the wall in there as well, so it's like it's going to be watching. Actually, Dina, who I battled with on The Voice, is going to come in and do a guest spot as well.
Oh, marvellous.
She's going to come and get up, because I spoke to her. She was like, yeah. She's going, yeah, right.
Will she be in camo head to foot with some random photograph on it? Oh, clothes.
What's that, sorry?
She had like all camo, camo sort of stuff with discs on, didn't she, when she was doing the battle?
Oh, yeah, well, bear in mind, they gave her what to wear.
Oh, did they? Right, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they dress us on the Voice. Not for your blinds. Your blinds is, well, I mean, they heavily yay or nay what you wear, and you can't wear any motifs. You can't wear any logos, anything like that.
Yeah.
And then from then on, they dress you, and they do a good job of it too. And her style is more Fresh Prince of Bel-Air kind of thing. That is her look. And to each their own. I wouldn't wear it, but if she's comfortable in it and she's cool, then that's awesome. And I think she looks kind of funky in it, so I'm all for it.
She did.
Yeah.
It suits her, actually.
Yeah, it does suit her. That's the thing. Could I pull it off? Not in a month of Sundays, but for her, it's great. So anyway, I was, what they did is that they paired us together, because it was like the brown discs on a black, tracksuit for her, and that's why. And then they put me in the brown and black jacket as well. You see, so it all kind of like color coordinated a little bit.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I know that'll be good. That'll be good for you both to be on stage. I'm sure you'll get a warm welcome there as well when you go on stage there. I think that'll be really good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we should do. I mean, obviously she's a fellow Scouser for them, so they'll be rooting for her. And so would I. Well, I am anyway, and I'm not a Scouser. And then the fact that obviously my dad going to Liverpool was always a big thing, because everybody from Liverpool always goes, Lonnie, because without Lonnie, no Beatles.
Exactly.
So there was always that, and plus people of that generation loved my dad anyway. It's like going back to Scotland is like a homecoming.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so happy that I'm going to Glasgow next week, and Inverness, up in Scotland, because Scottish audiences are great for me.
Yeah.
Because one thing Scottish audiences are great at, if they love you, they let you know.
Yeah.
But equally, if they don't like you, they let you know.
Yeah. So if they don't like you, they won't be there, will they? So you're all right. You'll know everyone that's in the auditorium at the theatre or wherever you're singing should be there to come and see you, shouldn't they? Unless they're a bit, loonies or someone that's going to come and abuse you. But yeah.
Oh, listen, I trust me. Getting back to the whole sort of having meeting my dad. I remember I've done a few gigs where this kind of thing has happened, but I had somebody come up after a gig. I've got all of Lonnie's records. Aye, doesn't sound like any one of them. I said, well, that's because I'm not him.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of singers don't do different when they're live anyway, don't they? If you know what I mean. It's
my dad didn't sound like he did in 1956 either.
No, he wouldn't have done, would he?
No.
His voice would have changed, and obviously the way they recorded would change as well, and the technology changes, and it's totally different, isn't it?
Yeah, literally everything has changed since then.
So your dad's obviously been a big influence on you. Is there any other artists then that you've have influenced you to get you where you are? Because obviously you've gone more down the country route. I mean, you're very passionate about the country scene. So what's pushed you towards that sort of,
I mean, I grew up in it, because don't forget, I mean, I was born in the UK, but I didn't grow up in the UK.
California, when you was California.
Well, California, Florida, Spain.
Yeah.
It's like growing up in California. I mean, you look at my dad's record collection; it's all full of Waylon and Willie and Dolly, and it was just, I loved it. I'm a huge Waylon and Willie fan.
Yeah,
I really am. And that's what I mean. The first song I ever learned via osmosis, that wasn't my dad's repertoire really, was "Dreaming My Dreams," which is a big Waylon hit.
Yeah.
Which is lovely, and that's why I went and covered it when I did the Under the Apple Tree sessions, for Bob Harris.
Ah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And it's just a great tune, and so country music has been in my life always. I love the storytelling behind it, the emotion in it, and then if you fast forward to now, and you've got modern country music, which I still love, and you've got some people who are able to keep that, have the modern pop, southern rock kind of sound in it, while also just, keeping that foot in to traditional country sounds. And two people that I love for doing that, first and foremost, would be Chris Stapleton.
Oh, I've just got tingles down my leg. He just blows me away. But yeah, go on. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I love Chris Stapleton. You know, and he does. You know, he goes. Sometimes, you know, you listen to him. You if you close your eyes, I mean, you could be back in the 1970s.
Yeah.
You know, and then he comes out with something completely different. But then, you know, and Eric Church is my other big one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's good as well.
You know, because he does, you know, and you know, come up with some of the synthesized poppy kind of country stuff as well. But then he goes back and then sings something like The Snake and things like that, and it's like, oh yeah, here we go. And if you listen to his live recordings, and I love it because he puts out a live album every year. It's on Spotify, and he's touching, you know, he's doing Oh Atlanta, you know, songs like that, and then he goes back and does, you know, some old J.J. Cale tunes and things like that, and you're like, yeah, this guy knows where he came from, and he's doing it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're right.
And I love that.
It's a brilliant genre. I mean, I got into it a few years ago, and that's why I do it. That's how I ended up doing a country show, and that's how we ended up doing the radio station. To be fair,
Yeah.
it sort of came from that. And me and my dad went to watch the Brothers Osborne last year in Manchester, and they absolutely blew us away. The musicians are really rocky, aren't they? More southern rock, but they're like a rock band. There's just two of them. They're just outstanding. If you get a chance to go and see them, go and see them.
I haven't seen them live, but I know who they are. I know their stuff, and they're very, very good.
Yeah,
they're
very, very talented. Good entertainers as well. But yeah, it's.
And the thing is that with my album Superman, you know, when that was reviewed of various different things, there was a few people that said, and I loved this obviously because a huge ego boost for me. They said, you know, if you like Eric Church, you'll love this. And I was like, okay, yeah, I am going to copy and paste that. There we go, lovely. You know.
Yeah, and that's great. That's great because then you've got fans like you're a fan as well as being an artist, and so if you're you know, there's fans who like Eric Church, then great. Guess you also might like this artist as well, and might like you because you're similar sort of sound. But yeah, I do like your songs. I've been playing your Superman album this last week or so on the station.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. I only play stuff I like, to be honest with you. But yeah, I've been playing that, and it's really good, really cool stuff. Good music.
I'm glad you like it.
And there's the one you've written for your son as well.
Yeah, Little Man. That's the first track that was actually written.
Little Man. I like that. I played that this morning.
I'm glad. Yeah. It's you know, obviously that's the thing about country music. You can write about something that's very, very close to your heart, you know. And a lot of people seem to really grab onto that track because I mean, there's a lot of parents out there.
Yes.
You know, that have a little man.
yeah, I've got 3 of them, and they're not so little now. But the eldest is 26. But that you're right about country. My wife, I think it's one of those. It's a genre that's quite Marmite, unless you get something that's quite mainstream. You're quite commercial. My wife doesn't like it. She says, "Oh, it's just all very formula. I can't," because she's a rock. She's into a rock, and I just sit there and I go, listen to the words. Listen to the words and listen to the beat and the melodies and do you know what I mean? I listen to some of them, and I've got a couple of tracks that I got. They're my go-to tracks if I'm feeling a bit whatever, and I want a bit of a pick-me-up or a bit of a recheck. And
I got you.
Yeah, and you listen to it and you think, yeah, this just makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It's just, and I love it.
It does. It's so relatable.
Yeah, good storytelling. You know, I like all genres of music. I like it.
And the thing is that country lends itself to other genres anyway because of the words, because of the melody lines. I mean, you look back in history. I mean, Islands in the Stream is written by the Gibb, but it's because of the Bee Gees, another band that wouldn't have existed without Dad. And they wrote Islands in the Stream, which is a hit for Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. It was a pop hit because it's so cool. And then you look down again, and big song, Country Roads. We've got to be one of the biggest ever, right? So the amount of people that don't realize that this song called Country Roads isn't actually, is a country song, but they don't realize.
Yeah.
And then that gets redone by numerous people. And then you look at I Will Always Love You, Dolly Parton. The amount of people that don't realize it's Dolly.
Yeah, and people
they go, oh yeah, Whitney Houston. I go, well, actually,
and I think people are, because some of the artists like Lady Antebellum, they just played country to country. They ended up they get played on the BBC and stuff like that because it's quite commercial and people listen to it and just think it's just, oh, this is a great pop song. Well, actually, you listen to country music, and the amount of time I talk to people, I go, I've got country, do a country show. I don't like country music. Say, have you actually listened to it? Have you know, you might be talking about a specific, you might be talking about old country that you don't like, or, you know, they all think whatever, you know, but just have a listen, just tune into something, just go and pick a couple of, what sort of, if you like rock, there's rock, there's rock, if you like blues, there's blues country, you know, there's bluegrass, and
well, that's the thing.
The genre's
You're quite
massive.
Right, you're quite right. But a lot of people in this country still, if you say country music, they're thinking, you know, put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone, you know, that's what they're still thinking of. Yeah. And I'm like, well, no, wait a minute, you know, when I've had people around here, because don't forget, my wife is Romanian, so her family are all from Romania. Yeah. And I've had them around here, and of course they go, oh, country music, and I've just got YouTube playing in the background. I'm playing with Eric, you know, and they go, oh, this song's nice. I go, yeah, it's Keith Urban.
Country singer.
Yeah, you know, and they're like, oh, well, I like this. I go, yeah, this is country music. And they go, oh, I guess I like modern country. I go, yeah. And then, you know, the day will go on, and in the background, you know, they'll hear, you know, do, bap, you know. Yeah. And they go, oh, yeah, Tennessee Whiskey. One. I said, you told me you didn't like country music. They went, yeah. I said, this is a country song.
One of the biggest
go,
ever.
Oh. Yeah, and the amount of people that sit in my living room go, I guess I like country music then. Yeah. You know, and I said, would you like my album? They go, oh, yeah, I know Superman, because the amount of people that seem to love Superman.
Yeah,
you know? That's a country song.
It's a great track. That is a great track. Yeah, I love it. It's brilliant. It's comical, really. But that's what we're here for. We're here to educate people for things they don't know, aren't we? You know, we're there to bring it to the masses. And I think it's good because if, as you progress through, you'll be another, you know, UK based artist who will be bringing it to the fore, because you was born in I was say you're going to say American, but you're born in the UK, so you're British.
I was born in London, mate. Yeah. Just because my dad was doing panto. We were living in California, but I was born here because my dad was doing panto.
Yeah. So you missed out. Missed out on being an American, then, didn't you?
Well, I'm still a legal permanent resident. I'm actually based in West Palm Beach, Florida. Really.
Very nice.
You know, it was very nice, you know. Yes, but it's which is a huge melting pot of different people. You know, it's a funny place because I mean you got the snowbirds that go down, you know, going, what do you mean you got no leg? Because it's Passover, you know, and in amongst with people who go, you know, sort of like, you know, get her done, you know. So it's a big mixture of people.
I can imagine.
But what was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, and you look at. I mean, country music has had such a big boost in this country. You know, in the UK, I'm talking about here, because of people like, you know, Chris Stapleton and Eric Church, all the, you know, coming around, and then, you know, the Shires obviously blasted out, and they're sort of folk country really, which is what Bob Harris sort of specialises in. You know, and you got them, and then you've got the sort of the next gen of that, which is the Wandering Hearts as well, who are rising up nowadays. Oh,
they're really good. I really like them. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They're very, very good. You know, very tight harmonies and everything. And then you've got, you know, people like myself, and then there's Backwoods Creek as well, who are good. But we represent that sort of more, like I just said, the kind of Eric Churchy, Stapleton kind of feel, you know. Well, which a lot of British country music stations are kind of like a little reticent to put out there, because they prefer the safer sort of folky stuff, because Bob Harris has given it the tick, you know.
Well, I don't.
But then, well, yeah, there you go. You see, but like I said, it's growing. It's growing.
It is, and
people that come.
And I love it, and I love the fact that it is growing. There's some amazing singers out there, and you look and think, wow, well, he's not really, you know, all over the place, because he should be, because they're just very talented. And I think it just needs people to be a bit more switched on to the genre as well. And I think as more things like people like you being on shows like The Voice and Country to Country being over here and getting even bigger, I think that slowly opens it up to other people to go, actually, I really like this, and it becomes from being just a niche. I mean, underground, it's quite a big event. There's big events on it. There's you know, a big following within country, and I think it's just going to grow and grow and grow over here.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like Remember Monday, who are also on The Voice. And it's funny because we were backstage, we were on the same day of blind auditions, and it was like, weren't you at FSA Festival? Yeah, we were. Oh, I saw you too. You know, so it's that kind of moment. But But we're here on purpose representing country music, to try and get it more out there. And that's why, I mean, they gave me songs to pick from. Obviously, The Voice, obviously pick what you're going to sing.
Yeah.
And this one of the songs that they picked as an option for me, and I went with it immediately, was Rascal Flatts' "Bless the Broken Road."
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't believe it, but it's originally a Nitty Gritty Dirt Band song.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have thought that. But actually, this is one of the few occasions I don't like the original. I actually prefer Rascal Flatts' version. I was very happy to do that in my blind audition, and it's now in the set permanently as well. So, we thought, here's country music for you, and I know that Tom loves that too. So that's why I thought, this could be really cool.
Yeah, and obviously you spoke about Tom then. So going back to The Voice as well. So when you sang with Tom, what that must have been just unbelievable to actually do your song with him when you sang with him.
Oh man, it was. I mean, because bearing in mind, I'd had a long couple of days. I'd done a gig the night before the blind audition and hadn't slept all night because the gig overran. Missed my last train into Manchester. At midnight. And luckily got a lift into Manchester from a fan, which was nice. Bless his heart.
Brilliant.
And he delivered me to the wrong hotel, which was my fault. And then I had to walk across Manchester to the right hotel. It was about 3 a.m. when I got in, and I had to leave and be downstairs in reception at 6:30.
Yeah.
So I didn't sleep. And I'm there all day, tired, nervous, walk out on set, very emotional. Tom turns and I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
But you get professional and you just continue through the song, and then any relation to Lonnie? And I go, yes, my dad. No, because he was going to go off and tell some sort of tale about my dad.
Yeah.
But then it kind of knocked him for six when he realised, oh wait a minute. He said, well, do you know the song? I said, well, of course I know it. Yeah. And that I couldn't believe was happening. I was like, really? We're going to do this now, and I'm now going to sing with Tom. Okay. And of course, the bits that they've edited out, for time reasons, is things like, I said to Dave, who's the MD, I said to him, do you know this? And he said, not well enough to do it right now. I said, right. And the producer asked me, he says, can you play it on the piano? I said, yeah, sure.
Okay, so that's why you ended up playing on the piano.
Well, yeah, because no one else knew to play it. And they also missed the bit where I turned to Tom and said, what key do you want to sing it in? I said, because I do it in D. I said, your original, in 67 was in E. I said, I don't mind which way you want to go. He said, oh, we'll do it in D. I said, I want to sit down. I said, all right, okay. So, and then they said, okay, and they kind of paused little bits of it and then went, okay, we'll cut, let's do it again, to make it clean.
Yeah.
So then he asked me again, and I said, yes, okay, fine. And Ollie said to me, he says, oh, do you want to hold the guitar? I was like, yeah, cool, because he genuinely is a lovely bloke, And that's when I thought, because I'd actually had a laugh with him off camera beforehand, and that's when I thought, all right, I'm going to throw you a little curveball now. And it's true what I said to him, but I just thought, this is going to knock him for six. I went, yeah, be careful, that's my dad's guitar. And he was like,
Oh, brilliant. I mean, I've not experienced it, but I've just experienced it through you. I've just been watching on the TV, watching the reactions, and that's why I was really keen to talk to you and just to get behind the scenes of that. And that must be unbelievable. I mean, almost like, is this, like you said, is this happening? Is this this is a bit surreal. I'm singing now with Tom. This is crazy.
Yeah, well, it was. I mean, this is the thing, because it's such a roller coaster of emotions, massive nerves, And then as I'm continuing to sing the song, I'd mentally prepared myself completely to just swivel around and walk back off stage with no turns. Right? Yeah. I was like, because that could very likely happen here. The odds are against me, So I stood there, and then I hit the note at the, towards the end of the song, and I'm hitting it with my eyes closed, but not fully closed, and I see the chair turn. I'm like, don't cry. Do not cry. And I just see Tom's face smiling back at me. So, all right, close your eyes, get through the next bit of the song. And I did. I finished it.
It's amazing.
And then you go through that, and that is such a satisfaction and relief. It's relief more than anything else at that moment, And then the happiness starts to kick in. You go, I'm on the show. I am on the show. So, I mean, that is massive, obviously. So there I am. I'm standing there, okay, and then we have the little moment and everything. Do you want to do the song? Holy crap!
Yeah.
Is he really asking me to do this? You know? And then I said to the band, "Do you know it?" and everything, because I thought, well, it's fair. I don't mind if I do it, like, you know, with the band or with the backing track, or if I have to play it, I don't mind. And they said, no, you have to do it on your own. You have to play it. And I thought that put a bit of pressure on, because now I'm like, oh Christ, don't, you know.
Oh man,
I mean,
I can just imagine. Yeah.
I mean, fortunately, I'd done it the night before, and as far as my mind was concerned, this was still the night before because I hadn't slept. You know? So.
Yeah. This is a dream anyway. I'll be doing this tomorrow with Tom. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'll get onto that bit in a minute. You know, and I just thought, right, okay, and then I set foot, because the band are way back. They're a long way away.
Yeah.
You know, even when you're standing in that circle, you're quite far away, really, from the coaches, but enough to hold a conversation over a microphone. You know, and then when you go back and you're at the band, I mean. Tom's about the size of a Lego figure, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there trying to see what he's doing and making sure I can hear him, you know, at the same time. And that's why you see me leaning always, you know, when I'm playing the piano.
All right, yeah.
I thought, right, don't screw this up, right, ding, 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 ding. I start playing it, you know, and he just goes straight in. I thought, right, okay, I'm playing, stay tight, because you're playing for Tom Jones here, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, and then I thought, shall I sing a harmony with this? Okay, I'll sing a harmony when the chorus kicks in. So it came in, you know. I thought, let him sing the first verse. There we go. And all the time I'm singing the harmony for this verse, I'm going, am I going to sing the next verse, or is he just going to sing the whole song, or what we're going to do? And he went, go ahead. I was like, okay, right. I've been in love, shit, right. You know, it's all, you know, flying by the seat of the pants.
Yeah, because you've not rehearsed it, have you? And you've just done it. It's fantastic.
It is happening, and it just happens to you. You know, This isn't rehearsed, and you're going and you're presenting something. No, this is just happening to me. Right? Okay. Unfortunately, I mean, what they don't show you as well is that we actually did all 3 verses and choruses of that song. Mm. You know, with all the turnarounds. So by the time the band that you see kicking in on the TV, they actually kicked in way towards the end of the show, and they've pieced it together. You know, so they had to listen to how we were playing it, how we were singing it, so they knew where to come in and finish.
Yeah, and that's a credit to them as musicians to just pick that up as well.
There are no better musicians than these guys. You know, They are absolutely top of the game. You know, they are on the same standard as anybody else that you find in LA and Nashville. They are really, really great guys, and nice guys to boot. You know, what was it? And the thing is that I'm used to fronting a band, so they can take visual cues from me on stage, which is fine, you know. And they knew they could do that with me because I'd actually done it for the blind audition anyway. Because when I'd sung "Bless the Broken Road," to have more of the song to sing in the 90 seconds, I chose not to have an intro.
Right.
Because you've got a band, you've got some sort of an intro, you've at least got to count in, which all consumes seconds.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, you don't want that, do you? Want your voice on
So
the
I
show,
just said to her, I said, look, I'm going to start the whole song off on the guitar on my own, you know. So literally, no intro, just, I sit out on a narrow way, straight into the song, there we go. And I play the whole first verse before we go into the chorus, and then the band kick in. But they're waiting for my cue to do so.
Yeah.
You know, and the reason why we were able to do that is because they know I'm used to fronting bands, and I've been doing it since I was like 18, 19, so it's fine. You know, so when people go, oh, that must have been rehearsed, first of all, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the compliment.
It's been rehearsed about 300 times on another stage with another band, thanks, yeah.
Yeah, well, we would have liked some rehearsal. It would have been nice. But here's the thing, you know, that band, number one, fantastic guys.
Yeah.
Right, and it does not get any better than those guys. And then, second of all, and this is very important, both I and Tom individually have been singing that song for decades.
Yeah.
You know, so we know it. We know where the song is going. We know there's no guessing work. We know what's going to happen with the song. You know, so that's why it works. And it's not an overly complicated song to keep going with, you know. So yeah, and then that emotion was just, you know, fortunately I was concentrating on all of that because I think maybe I would not have held it together otherwise. Yeah. Because Tom was getting emotional. Unfortunately, I couldn't see that from where I was sitting.
No, I've seen it in his eyes a few times, and that's what I really like about the guy. I don't know if I said it earlier on, but for his for his age, yeah, he's not a young bloke, is he? But he sits there and he watches some of these really young artists singing very modern music, and he's like, when he was watching you, you can see his eyes glazed over with tears, and like big smile on his face, like someone has pushed him into somewhere that he thought he'd never be, and he's watching it, and you can just tell he absorbs every ounce of it and just loves what he's doing. I think it's fantastic. I just really like the guy. I think he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant.
And he's a genuinely nice bloke as well. You know, my dad always said he was beforehand, because you know, my dad would toured with him. My mum met him on a few occasions as well. I never had that honour, unfortunately, until now. But I still haven't sat and actually had a conversation with him, because it wouldn't be right, you know. Yeah,
will be now. You know, when the show finishes, you're going to have to go and have a drink with him somewhere, aren't you?
Well, it's all right. I've already spoken to Mark, his son, about doing that. It's all right.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and we will. But no, it was just awesome, you know. And we finished the song, and I was like, okay, you know, we've got a standing ovation from the studio audience, and I could see my family going nuts, who thought, you know, at best, I was going to sing the song, someone's going to turn, select me, I go down, shake their hands, thank you very much, and I go and celebrate with them. In the meantime, they're kept in their alcove, you know, for what has turned out to be almost a half hour, going, we want to congratulate him, because he's not only got through the show, he's just done a duet with Tom Jones.
I know, it's just, you couldn't write it, could you? You couldn't write it. It's just, it's unbelievable. And I think, like I said at the start, I think that's what makes the show unique in what it does, because they're not looking at the people on this listen to, and it's called The Voice because listen to The Voice, and I think I'm amazed some of the artists they don't turn around for, as well as some of the ones they do. But I think,
I mean, here's the thing, because there's a lot of callbacks before you get to have the chance to go to the blind audition. So they've narrowed everybody down to make sure that everybody that gets through to the blinds really should be on the show. You know, they're that good.
Yeah.
You know, there is no bad singers. You know, there might be some bad performances occasionally due to nerves, but that can just happen. That's life. But I mean, everybody that gets through that final is fantastic. You know, and they all deserve to go through, but unfortunately it doesn't happen all the time.
They couldn't do, because it's at the end of the day, it's an entertainment TV show, and otherwise it wouldn't, you know, you've got to have that edge in that competition. But I think it's a great, anyway, I talk all day about it. I think it's absolutely wonderful. So we've talked a lot about The Voice and your dad and all the rest of it. So you're obviously an artist in your own right before you went on The Voice, and you have been for many years, and you're currently doing a lot of stuff at the minute. You're talking about you've got something big planned this year.
Oh yeah, I've got. I mean, you know, I'm going to try and make apple crumble. I've not done it for years. Sorry, I've just been stupid.
I thought you was talking about Apple then. I was going to say, right, what's he doing? I thought you meant like Apple Music.
No. Apple crumble.
Right, okay, yeah, good, brilliant.
I've made apple pie, but this year I'm making apple crumble.
I love apple crumble. Put a little bit of chili in your apples.
A bit of chili in the apples.
A bit of chili in it, seriously. Not too much, just a bit, and it just adds a little bit of a kick to it, and just alters the flavour. Yeah, it's nice.
Really,
yeah.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Try it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Bear in mind, I have to make it gluten-free and dairy-free for the little man, though.
Right.
But right, let's have a look. I mean, yeah, later on in the year. I mean, obviously, I'm in Scotland next week. But the massive thing that we're doing in July, because don't forget, this year is the 65th anniversary of my dad's original recording of Rock Island Line.
Yeah.
The song that changed the British music industry. Very, very important. So we're going to celebrate that. It's also the 90th anniversary of Decca, where it was recorded.
Yeah.
So that's been fantastic. And we're having a celebratory event at Cadogan Hall in London. And
right.
We've got Van Morrison.
Wow.
We've got Billy Bragg. We've got Mike Reed, you know, the presenter, and we've a songwriter, and we've got and there's many more to come. But we've also got Joe Brown. Remember Joe?
Yeah.
And we've got Dave Peacock, you know, from Chaz and Dave, and we're going to pay a little homage to Chaz because I mean, Chaz and Dave, both of them were massive friends with Dad as well. You know, they're great guys.
Yeah, as soon as you said his name, I thought, yeah, they'll have been good buddies. Bloody hell.
Really good buddies.
Yeah.
Well, them and Joe and everybody. I mean, they were all, you know, thick as thieves, all of them. and just really straight, great guys. You know, like straight as a die. You know, they tell it as it is. There's very old school. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they wrote the best homage song, I would say, called to my dad, called Lonnie D.
Yeah.
I mean, it's brilliantly written, really brilliantly written, and great fun to do. So I think we're going to chuck that in the set as well. That'd be lovely. And then we've got more artists to come, and we've got another presenter who's going to come and be with us as well, which is Jim Carter, the actor from Downton Abbey.
Right.
Because he was a huge fan of Dad, so he really wanted to be there. And on the morning of this gig, is it the Heritage Foundation, I think they're called, presenting Dad with a blue plaque outside of what used to be the Decca recording studio.
Oh, brilliant. Why did it took them so long? But yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That's great, isn't it? That's great.
It's absolutely fantastic.
They've only just done one for Princess Diana last week or so, and you think, it's just why has it took them so long? It just makes anyway. But yeah, that'll be good. So that event then is that open to the public to buy tickets, or is it a closed door job?
Oh yes, it's on sale. It has been on sale now since my battle weekend actually. Ticket sales are going incredibly fast, really fast.
Yeah.
And I haven't even put any radio publicity out. It's just literally social media, and literally 200 tickets gone in the first night.
Wow.
So, I mean, you have to book early for that one, because otherwise you will be left disappointed. I had to phone the theatre up because I had to put a few comps for some people who are going to come and do some reviews, and for a couple of plus ones, because it'd be nice if Van Morrison could bring a friend,
Yeah, bring someone else from the band.
I literally had to call them up quickly and say, look, I think we need to hold off some tickets before they all disappear.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great, and all proceeds from it go to our little man, and it keeps his therapy for autism going, because he's autistic.
What your son is?
My son's autistic, yeah.
Some of the best people are.
Yeah, they really are. You're celebrating Dad's legacy, and everything is going to helping his grandson.
Oh, that's brilliant. So where do people get tickets for that then?
Well, you can go to Cadogan Hall's website, or because trying to spell Cadogan might be a little hard. What you can do is,
it would be for me.
You can find the ticket link on my website, which is peterdonegan.com.
Well, that's dead easy, isn't it? Yeah.
Dead easy, so long as you can spell Donegan, which a lot of people seem to not be able to.
Yeah, I think
but if you just type in
an
Peter
H
Donegan,
in it the other day, or something. I don't know. My wife said,
it's completely phonetic. Donegan. Very simple.
Yeah.
And it's an Irish name, so if you say it with an Irish accent, it might help. It's Donegan.
Yeah.
Van says it the best. Donegan.
Yeah. You see, your lad's autistic. I'm dyslexic, so I'm okay with words that I know and I've learnt over my lifetime. But you give me a new word or a new name, and I just completely cock it up. So I always get people to spell everything.
But you see, people, because I suffered that a little bit on a very mild scale when I get tired. But it's like so many kids, like dyslexia even has only just been fully recognised, really, hasn't it? I mean, I know somebody. I mean, she's 18, 19 now. But when she was a kid and I was working with her parents at school, they kept putting her in detention, and she was put in the city class and the rest of it and everything, because they thought she was having them on. And she said, no, she's dyslexic.
Yeah, well, I go and I speak in school. I do public speaking in schools for a charity in the Midlands. So that's my little bit of pay it forward, because I didn't find out till I was 44. And anyway, that's another story. But that's why I do some of the stuff that I do. So I
look, because you get classified as being, having a low IQ or something, because you're dyslexic, and it's completely not fair.
No, when I found out I was dyslexic and I walked out of my job, I went to university, did a master's degree, just to stick my two fingers up at the world, really. So
yeah, well, good on you, mate.
Yeah, so that's what I did. But that sounds absolutely brilliant. And I tell you what, we've covered loads of stuff, and it's just, like I said to you at the start, before we came.
Oh, I could cover even more.
I know you could,
including promoting Billy Bragg's book, which will prove to you everything. The importance of skiffle, which is called Roots, Radicals, and Rockers.
Yeah, well,
and he released it a couple of years ago now. But it's selling that well that especially in America, they were going to release the soft, the softback, do they call it like that, paperback version of it, and they have done, I think, in the UK, but in America, the book company have said no, we're still doing the hardback because it's still selling so well.
Wow, and that's cool.
Because Americans are suddenly going, wait a minute, we thought that everything began with the Beatles, and we thought that the Beatles got all of their stuff directly from Muddy Waters and all that kind of stuff, and they went, we didn't realize about Lonnie.
Mm.
But if you go to Nashville and you say my dad's name, they go, oh yeah, the Rock Island Line guy.
Yeah.
But here's one difference between America and here. When I'm in Nashville and I did my album and everything, and I was standing there with I forgot his name now. I'm having a brain aneurysm. Charlie Daniels, remember him?
Yeah.
Devil
Went down to Georgia. I've got that on vinyl, but yeah, go on.
yeah. And I met him at the Opry, and seemed like a really nice guy. But listen, I met him on the one occasion, and he said he was introduced to me by one of the people that works at Sun, and she said, "Oh, this is Lonnie Dongan's son." She goes, "Do you remember him?" He went, "Yeah, Lonnie, the Rock Island Line guy." And then his next question was, "So what are you doing now?" And that was everything that happened to me when I was in Nashville. They all go, "Oh yeah, Lonnie, yeah, we remember him. Yeah, so what are you doing?"
Yeah, and that's a different.
Whereas I'm here, they go, "Oh, Lonnie's your dad. Oh yeah, go on, sing Pick a Better Cotton."
And I know, and you're thinking, yeah, it's a no, and like I say, it's a double-edged sword, and you want people to appreciate him, and don't forget him, because that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I will always pay homage to Dad, and I always hope that everything I've just done on The Voice as well raises his profile and people's awareness of my dad as well, because I loved my dad. I mean, he was my best friend, and I just, all my life I've wished that people seen him the way he was, but for some reason, a lot of people remember him. It's like remembering Chuck Berry for My Ding-a-Ling.
Yeah. Which is wrong.
Or remembering the Beatles for the Yellow Submarine.
Yeah, and they do, don't they? You mentioned the Beatles, and that's the song that a lot of people say. Yeah, they've written some absolutely awesome songs, haven't they? You know what I mean? Like Norwegian Wood and things like that.
And Hey Jude, and Paperback Writer, and one of my favorites is Still Get Back. And then such wonderful songs. And Chuck Berry. I mean, Johnny Be Good is the first one I bloody think of.
Yeah. But yeah, it's bizarre, the human psyche how, and then the public how they remember certain things as things get changed and over time, and so you've obviously got that big event, and we obviously want people to go and book that and get into that, because that sounds immense, the amount of people you've got there and for what you're doing it for as well. So it's like a double reason to go. But you're obviously all on tour as well. You're doing lots of events, aren't you, in Peterborough and.
I am, I'll be doing the Sports and Classic Car Show in Peterborough. I'm looking forward to that. We're doing the Cavern Club in Liverpool. I'm really looking forward to that as well. There's another couple of things which are all coming up, on the agenda as well. Agents are looking at everything. It's just always finalising details and when we can announce things, because not everybody wants things announced immediately. It's all coming along really nicely. I've got some great people involved with the gig in July with Van Morrison and everything. Not just the ones I've just mentioned. I mean, we've got people who are interested in doing it. They're just checking dates and availabilities before we announce them. Everything should be one of the best gigs ever, really.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It just sounds like it. I think it'd be brilliant. And there's a lot of history there as well, and what you're celebrating, and then obviously for the future as well. So it's brilliant to do stuff like that. And
Tom would have been at the gig as well if he wasn't gigging in Bath that night. Was it Bath or Bristol? Bristol, that's where he's at. Bristol.
Typical. Couldn't he cancel now? And it's amazing that he's still performing, isn't it? Really, it's amazing, because a lot of people, as they get older, the voice goes, but Tom's voice it's got no sign of letting up, has it? It's just
no. Well, look at my dad. I mean, he was 71 when we were on that last tour.
Crazy,
and his voice had got better, if anything else. It got better, it got richer, it was lovely. And he was raring to go on that tour. I mean, the fact that he passed away on it was a surprise to everybody. But I don't, I can't have any regrets about the way things happen, on the basis that my dad always said, if I want to go doing what I love.
Yeah, exactly.
And he did. So, I mean, now that I've had time to heal as well from these things, I can look back and go, I can sort of rest a little bit going, well, he did. He passed doing exactly what he loved doing, which was making everybody happy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, and if you can do that, then that's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's not nice for the people at the time and everything, but as you can look back and enjoy what he'd done, and that's what he wanted. So yeah, why not? We'd all love to go. We'd all love to go. None of us want to die in a chair, do we? We want to go. We want to do something that we're actually passionate about and doing and making a difference, or whatever it is you're doing. And I think it's great. So yeah. it's been wonderful. Before you go, I've just got to say thanks to Ken Meakin, who promotes a lot of country artists in the UK, and actually,
he's great, isn't he?
And I nearly forgot about him. Then it'd be criminal because
You can't forget about him. He's a lovely man.
I know he obviously gave me your music last year that was playing, and then obviously got me into you and your music, and then obviously through him, I managed to get in contact with you and get you on the show, which is fantastic, and that's great how people can do that for you. And I was over at Moon, and it's really good. So, anyway, is there anything else you want to add before we go? Because I think we've covered lots.
No, do you know what? I'm not going to bend your ear anymore, mate.
No, I'll tell you what, I could talk to you all day, and if you want to come back and if you want to come on again because.
Well, to quote Chaz and Dave, I've got more rabbit than Sainsbury's, mate.
Yeah, rabbit. Yeah, so it's good. It's good. But I wish you all the success. I genuinely wish you all the success, because having spoken to you, and before I even spoke to you, I knew you were a genuine guy. I really enjoyed your performances and your music and what you're doing, and I just wish you go on from strength to strength from this point on. And and I'm sure you will. You can't not do.
Oh, well, thanks so much, Kurt. I really do appreciate that.
No problem.
And thanks so much for having me on board. It's been great fun.
No, it has been good. I've really enjoyed the last, what was it? Hour and whatever it is. It's been absolutely marvellous. I've had a ball. Well, thanks for that. It's been wonderful.
No, thank you very much, mate. And I'll catch up with you before long anyway.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. All right, definitely, Kurt. Thanks so much, mate.
Cheers. Oh, you enjoyed that as much as I did. Brilliant. Thanks, Peter, once again for joining us on the Dougie Stone Show. Thanks for Ken Meakin for hooking us up. Promotes a lot of artists in the UK, especially in the country scene. Great guy. Brilliant. And as always, this has been the Dougie Stone Show. Yeah, if you're listening on Mixcloud or iTunes or any other, it might even be Spotify, please subscribe. You'll get the latest shows that are coming out. And this has been recorded by me, Kurt Pickstone, aka Dougie Stone, for Dougie Stone Radio. We're not just local people, we're freaking global, baby! We got 24/7, a range of music. So if you want to know a bit more about us, go to DUGGYSTONE. That's Dougie Stone Radio. You can get us on Alexa. You can get us on tuning radio. You can listen to us direct on the website. That's Dougie Stone Radio. Remember the name. We promote emerging artists, presenters of everything from blues to rock to country to hip hop to bikers nights. Oh yeah. If you want to contact the station, just email us at contact@DougieStoneRadio. Like I say, all the show notes will be on there, all the links to the books, the events that Peter's doing. And if you can get to see him, go and see him. Absolutely brilliant. I think we might need to call it a day, people, might we? I'm out of here. See ya! The Dougie Stone Show.